Hey, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2001 sequel in the third film that it is, Jurassic Park 3. And there's Jurassic Park franchise. This is the first film not directed by Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg executive produced, Kathleen Kennedy produced this film. This came out in 2001. Very quick, 93-minute long movie. Joe Johnston directed this. I'm going to go down my actors list. Sam Neill is back as Dr. Alan Grant. Tia Leone is Amanda Kirby. Paul Kirby is played by William H. Macy. My first introduction to William H. Macy, and then it's been smooth sailing ever since. Alessandro Navallo plays Billy Brennan. Billy's a cool character. Eric Kirby is played by Trevor Morgan. John Deal is Cooper. Michael Jeter is Udesky. And then we have Laura Dern back as Dr. Ellie Sadler. So Laura Dern back, though, is really more of a cameo. She doesn't have like a main staple in the film. It's really about Paul and Amanda Kirby. They're trying to find their son Eric, and Eric was off on a vacation with friends. They were parasailing, but they got too close to Isla Sorna, and a dinosaur attacked them on the boats, who were elicited to believe is the Spinosaurus, because this is the first intro to the Spinosaurus. And so Eric is with, who is Eric with? I don't remember who he's with, on the parasail, but then they get caught, and then he has to survive on Sorna until someone comes and rescues him, basically. So the last thing that Paul and Amanda Kirby know is that Eric was on Sorna, or near Sorna. So they trick Alan Grant, Dr. Alan Grant, into saying that they want him to give them a tour as they circle around the island, just to point out the different dinosaurs. And he's like, yeah, but I wasn't on this island. I was on Isla Nublar, not Isla Sorna. And they're like, no, we know. But you're good at your job. So here's a buttload of money, and just be our tour guide. So him and Billy, who's his new paleontologist partner that it is, everybody gets on this plane, they start circling the island, but then they land on the island. And then Dr. Alan Grant's like, no, we're not supposed to be landing here. This is dangerous. So they land, they're investigating, they're screaming at Eric's name. Then they eventually tell Dr. Alan Grant the truth. There's a large Spinosaurus roar, which is larger than a T-Rex roar, and Dr. Grant doesn't know that roar because he's familiar with the T-Rex roar, but he's not familiar with the Spinosaurus roar. So they all try to run back to the plane as fast as possible. One of the guys gets eaten by a Spino on the runway. It's a dirt runway, by the way. And then eventually they hit the Spino as it's taking off, and then crash land, and then it's this beautiful animatronic Spinosaurus pulling its head into the hull of the plane, ripping people out. And then there's a Spinosaurus versus T-Rex battle, and that scene was just so intense. And there's a Ceratosaurus in this movie, first time we've seen him, so that was pretty cool. He's the guy with the little pointy spikes and a little pointy nose thing, but he's a carnivore. So yeah. And then as the story progresses, while this is happening, though, there's a lot of raptor involvement. So these raptors actually have little feathers coming out of their heads, trying to allude to the actual science behind velociraptors being these small bird-like predators. But they're still in that Utahraptor Deinonychus height, which is fine, because, again, this is just Jurassic Park's version of dinosaurs. It's not true to dinosaurs, not 100%. But they try to get it as close as possible. So Billy winds up stealing an egg because he wants an egg from a velociraptor, and then raptors keep chasing them throughout the movie, and the Spinosaurus keeps chasing them throughout the movie, and the Spinosaurus breaking down the barrier field to force them to go into the aviary with all the pteranodons. Incredible. And those pteranodon animatronics, incredible and scary. Very scary to have these giant beak things peck at people, and Billy's hang glider gets attacked and he winds up in the river, and all of these different things. But the creepiest, scariest moment, and this is the point, there's only a few moments in the Jurassic films that actually give me chills, because these are horror movies. They're not, yes, they're action movies, yes, they're sci-fi thriller films, but these are horror movies. Like, they truly play with the emotions of horror, of fear. And there's a scene in this when they're going down a river in a boat, and they jump in a cage to avoid the Spinosaurus, who is shown as an aquatic animal. And the Spino is trying to attack them, right? And the boat is sinking. So Grant winds up being able to call Ellie via satellite phone that the Kirbys had the entire time. It's a ringtone that continuously goes, and you hear it in the Spino because one of the guys who had the phone last was eaten by the Spino. So anytime you hear that, you know the Spino's nearby. I thought that was pretty neat. So he screams into the phone, "Ellie, the river! Site B, the river!" And he just goes under, and she's screaming, "Alan, Alan!" And then you don't know what happens. It gives me the chills. It gives me the creeps every time I think about it. It's just such a well put together scene. And then eventually, you know, the Navy or Marines or whoever comes in and rescues, you know, the survivors. And it's just such an interesting means of how quick the film goes and how much information they give us, again, within Site B. But this wasn't well received. And in 2011, in 2001, in '01, I was 11. So I went to see it. I remember exactly where I saw it. I saw it at the Rigu UA in Farmingdale with my family and my best friend at the time, who hated the movie. And I was very, what's the word? Susceptible to feedback. So like, if he hated it, I hated it, kind of a thing. And I hate myself now for ever being that malleable when it comes to opinions. But I didn't like the movie back then because he didn't like the movie. And then the more I saw it, I was like, wait, this is really good. Why does he hate it? And I specifically didn't get any toys from Jurassic Park 3 because of how much I hated it. And now I regret all of that hate, which wasn't real hate, because those toys are worth a lot of money now, especially that original '01 Spino. And this was also interesting because this is the first wave of dinos with the Hasbro banner, not the Kenner banner. The Kenner banner was for Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World Jurassic Park. And then the Hasbro banner finally popped up with Jurassic Park 3. And then they did different spin-off Jurassic Park lines for Hasbro. And then eventually Hasbro did Jurassic World, which we don't talk about. And then Mattel finally got the rights to do Fallen Kingdom, and they have just been knocking it out of the park ever since Fallen Kingdom toys came out. It's just been line after line, success after success, toy award after toy award. Incredible. But yeah, Jurassic Park 3. Fun times. The Pteranodon scenes, terrifying. The Spino in the river scene. LA, the river! Side B, the river! Terrifying. Love it. On to Jurassic World. Mucho mahalo.